Alright, so we're going to talk about lathe chucks today. So I've got a new lathe chuck that we're going to be mounting, and so there's two main types of lathe chucks that you have. You've got a 3-jaw, which is considered a either a scroll chuck or a screw chuck. Basically, you turn one, you use the wrench and turn it, the T-handle, and that brings all jaws in together. So there's basically a big screw in here that as you turn it, it moves all 3 jaws together. So that's a screw chuck or scroll chuck. The other one that you'll use quite a lot is a 4-jaw chuck. So some 4-jaw chucks are also screw chucks. Most of them are independent chucks. So that means each of the keys can be moved independently. If you watch some of my other movies, I've got this smaller one for a different lathe that I have, but I've actually, because it is small enough, I can actually chuck it into on my 3-jaw and do some real small stuff, but not ideal, not probably not even the safest thing to do. So I do have a new 4-jaw independent chuck. Now, the thing with the chucks is every type of lathe has its own mounting to it. So the Clausing lathes use what's called a L00. It's called a long taper mount. So this is the actual mount back here. So you'll see in a minute there's basically a big screw that screws onto here. There's a taper, which is what's driving it with a keyway in here. It's not a real common mount anymore, so the challenge was trying to find, I could find a 4-jaw independent chuck with the L00 mount on it, but they were just kind of crazy expensive for how often I use it. So what I ended up opting for is you can buy the chucks, and this is called the backplate, so you can buy the chuck and the backplate separately. So I opted to do that, got them from 2 different places. Saves quite a bit of money doing it that way. The thing is, though, is that I will have to do some machining on the backplate, so that's what you'll see. So with that, I've got this little lip here. I'm actually going to have to machine it down to fit the space in the back of the chuck. And then this particular chuck uses a 4-bolt hole pattern kind of towards the inside here. And so we'll have to drill, we'll use a transfer punch on that. So we'll transfer the hole location to it. Then we'll drill and tap those out and get it all mounted. Then we can mount it onto here. So, but to kind of see how this comes apart, we're going to use a hook wrench, and this will hook into the back part here. You can see I've marked this from other times when I have removed it, which way is to tighten or to loosen it. So tighten it is pull it this way, flip it around the other way to loosen it. So you pop it loose. Then as I turn this, you'll see it's moving out fairly good, but you'll see it when it hits a point where it kind of drops a little bit. And you notice I do have these blocks underneath here. That's to protect my ways, so that when this does drop, I mean, it's not crazy heavy, but it's heavy enough that I don't want to damage my ways on the lathe. There we go. All right, so we're gonna pull that off of there. So now you can see the back side of this one. So this is the original chuck from this lathe. So it's all one piece. It doesn't have a separate back plate on it. So it's all integrated together. And so set this down here. So now then, this back plate, so it's got the keyway there. So we'll get the keyway lined up. And we'll just tighten this down, and then we'll be ready to start machining it. Now there's one other type of collet system that's, if you're doing some real precision work, it's called a 5C collet chuck. And I've got pieces of one that came with this. It still needs a few parts. That's real precise because it's actually pulling everything right into your center shaft and axle that's running in there. So that will give you the absolute truest running. So yeah, so that's on there. Let's see, let's turn it on. You see when it spins, it spins pretty true. So looking at it this way, it's real solid. Looking at it this way, there's just a little bit of wobble in it that can be machined out. Not a big deal. But yeah, so this is the setup we'll use to actually machine this in, and then as that machine's in, we're going to get that to where it fits right inside this groove here. Once that does, that'll keep it really nice and centered. Then we'll use the holes and a transfer punch to mark the locations where we need to drill and tap. So.